ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वरूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांतो राधा कांतो नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। प्लीज रिपीट हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Very warm welcome to all of you. So today we will start the 10th verse of Rishabh. So basically Ishopanishad has a theme, right? Like the foundation of Ishopanishad is the Ishavasya principle. Ishavashamidam sarvam yat kinchat jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhanjata magrita kasya svettanam. And then one who follows this principle, he can live hundreds of lives. That is hundreds of years of life, infinitely. That is the second verse. And one who doesn't follow this principle, he will be dragged down towards the hellish planets. That is the third verse. And then in the fourth and fifth verse are the characteristics of the Lord, that he can run faster than the mind. And although he is fixed in one place, but still he is in the heart of everybody. So all the contradictions are resolved in the Lord. So those are fourth and fifth verse. And sixth and seventh verse are the characteristics of a Uttamadhikari. So one who follows this Ishavasham principle and one who goes deeper into his Krishna consciousness, he is able to realize the fourth and fifth verse, and then he is able to see all the living entities as part and parcel of Krishna. So that is the Ekatvam Anupashyati. So this is very important, like trying to see Krishna everywhere, like trying to see Krishna's hand in every situation. That is Krishna consciousness. Somehow, if we see every situation as a plan of Krishna, then we become Krishna conscious. So those are the like sixth and seventh verse, and eighth and ninth verse are talking about what was it? Just eighth verse is, such a person must factually know the greatest of all personality Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without means, pure and uncontaminated, self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. So in 8th and 9th verse, we are exploring the other characteristics of the Lord. The Lord is apapidham. The Lord is shuddham, ashnaviram. So he is without veins and he is completely antiseptic. So in the purport, Prabhupada talks about cow dung, how there are various exceptions in the Vedic literature, and we have to accept those exceptions because Vedas are the breathing of the Lord, and whatever is stated in Vedas is coming out of the mouth of the Lord, and whatever Lord says, that becomes true. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. So cow dung has, although all the stools are most like as soon as we touch the stool of any animal, we become contaminated. And that is the worst state of contamination. We know, right? Like in Brahmacharya, we are taught that this Shuchi and Muchi. So when we sleep, we become contaminated. When we go to washroom, we become contaminated. When we brush our teeth, when we shave ourselves, we kind of become contaminated. So all these contaminated activities can be purified by taking a bath. So that is the shuchi. Taking bath is shuchi, and like all the other activities are muchi. But so if we touch the stool of any animal, we become muchi. But if we touch the stool of the cow, then we become shuchi. We are no more muchi. So as soon as we take bath, we become shuchi, and that's what, like in brahmacharya, when we take Brahman initiation, when we want to dedicate our life in realizing Krishna consciousness, and in realizing the spiritual platform. Yes, spiritual platform is Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Guru Ritam Acharan Dasvat Nicha Guru Sudrid Sauridam. So when we situate ourselves in a Gurukula, and when we dedicate our life on the orders of the Guru, when we act for the welfare of the Guru, Guru Sudrid Sauridam, then we understand. Then we understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And all these activities, following the rules and regulations, waking up early in the morning, taking a bath, worshipping the Lord, chanting the holy name, all these activities will help us situate in that spiritual platform, on that spiritual, like we help us to understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And when we fix ourselves in that relationship to Krishna by hearing and chanting, then we understand that how much happiness is there, and how much substance is there in this process, in the relationship with Krishna. So everything else is ephemeral, right? It will be a bubble like happiness. So today you will eat pastry, but tomorrow you might get some stomachache. So today, like, people might say, okay, you should go to IIT, or you should go to go to Berkeley University, and you will get a very good job. So they glorify the material education, and you might do it also, but you might not feel the happiness of the heart. The happiness of the heart only you can feel in the association of devotees, by practicing bhakti, and by studying shastra, and by connecting yourself with Guru and Krishna in the disciplic succession. So that is the real happiness. That is the happiness of a fish which jumps back into the water. So as we were discussing like day before yesterday also, that this happiness of connection with Guru and Krishna comes when we take shelter of the right things. So this world is full of problems, right? But to solve our problems, we have to take shelter of the instructions of the spiritual master and consult with senior devotees. So in that way, we will advance towards Krishna. But if problems come and we take shelter of other things, for example, overeating, we go to restaurants, we go to bar, try to bust our stress, right? Then our destiny is not so good, because the shelter which we take in the critical moments of life, that determines our destiny, because those moments are where Krishna is testing our faith. Do you want me, or do you want Maya? So it is our duty to select Krishna, to choose Krishna in that situation, by choosing the consultation of devotees in those situations. So there our spiritual progress starts, because this material world, it's methunagar, right? It's it's a janma mrityu jara vyadhi, like it's full of miseries, full of pain, full of basically birth, death, old age, and disease. All four things are very painful. But the purpose of this material world is to rectify ourselves. It is a rectification system. Just like if you commit a murder, you have to go to the prison for 15 years, right? And you have to rectify yourself. You have to break the stones. You have to serve the other prisoners. You have to eat bad food. So that all those things will rectify you, will purify you. And once you get sufficiently purified, then they will release you from the prison. So this material world is just like a rectification system. All the dualities which we are carrying in our heart, those are purified by Krishna himself, by bringing certain situations in our life. And that's why it is also called an open heart surgery. Like Krishna pulls it out. Krishna pulls all the abhadras out. Nasta prayashu bhadreshu nityam bhagavad seva bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistike. So when we hear Bhagavatam daily, when we take association of devotees, then automatically these abhadras will go away. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seva. And when these abhadras will go, the bhakti will be reinstated. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata seva bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati nasti. So this nastiki bhakti will be situated in our heart because all the contaminations are taken away. So it is up to us whether we want to take the nectarian method by hearing Bhagavatam daily, by discussing the glories of Guru and Krishna daily, or do we want to just basically we don't want to do it very intense devotion, but let Krishna take us, like purify us, and that will be a school of hard knocks. So this choice is up to us whether we want the difficult path or we want the easy path. So if you perform good intense devotional service, akama sarva kamava moksha kama udaridi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusha param. So if you perform tivra bhakti, then you don't need to go through so much struggles because you are under the shelter of Guru and Krishna. They are giving the instructions, you are following them, you are feeling the internal potency in those instructions, and you are protected. So Krishna will not test you so much. But if you are very lackadaisical in following the instructions, you are confused whether you should follow, whether you should practice, whether you should chant Hare Krishna, whether you should come for Bhakti Shastri classes, then basically Krishna will basically always your life will be full of confusion, and Krishna will also try to bring such situations in your life which will decrease that confusion or which will make you choose the right path. So basically the progress will be very slow. Like we will not be grounded on the spiritual platform, but Krishna will bring us, give us difficult situations, which will make us feel that the life is so difficult, right? And life is difficult because we are making it difficult, because we are not clear what is devotional service, why do we want to practice devotional service. All those spiritual conceptions are not clear. So it is our duty to take association of senior devotees and make those spiritual conceptions very clear and perform bhakti like that. So it is up to us whether we want to follow the path of whether we want to whether we want to follow the nectar method or the school of hard knocks. Yeah. So there is a story also on this, right? Like there was a disciple of Prabhupada. There was a female disciple. I'm forgetting her name. Jadurani, yeah, Jadurani. So Jadurani was looking at a picture of Mahavishnu, and she was looking at it very very sincerely, and she was not able to understand whether Mahavishnu is standing or lying down. So she asked Prabhupada, and that was a day of Ekadashi. So she went to Prabhupada and she asked Prabhupada, this painting is very nice, but I'm not able to understand whether the Mahavishnu is standing or lying down. Because if you see the cover of Vishwapanishad also, right, like Mahavishnu is there, Anant Shesh is also on his head, but it is not very clear whether he is lying down or he is standing, right? So similar question she asked Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, you fast for 2 more days. Today is Ekadashi, you fast today and 2 more days, and after 3 days you will realize. Because ultimately the Krishna has to reveal himself, right? Krishna has to see the qualification of the soul, and if he decides to reveal, then we will get this knowledge, we will get this realization. So Jadurani became very demotivated, and Jadurani basically she was very upset, little bit upset, right? Now her guru has told her to fast for 3 days, so she has to fast for 3 days. Yeah. So basically, after 3-4 hours, Prabhupada comes to her, and Prabhupada says, "Okay, actually, Mahavishnu is lying down, and now it's up to you whether you want to accept the guru or you want to fast for 3 days." Okay. So does anybody understand what is the essence of this story? Does anybody get what does Prabhupada wanted to convey there? Let's start the 10th verse now.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
Prabhuji.
No? Okay. No, actually, like Prabhupada initially told that if you fast for 3 days, you will get the realization yourself. You don't need to do anything. And then after that, he exclaimed that okay, the Mahavishnu is like that. So it's up to us whether we accept the conceptions of Guru or we want. So that is the nectar method. And if we don't accept those conceptions, we will have to figure it out ourselves by our austerities and penances. So it's up to us whether you want to follow the devotees or figure it out yourself. Okay. Just like what? Just a second. I'm just. So just like if you want to know the authority that who is our father, then what is the option? How will we know that who is our father?
To ask the mother.
We'll ask our mother. Can you speak loudly?
Yes, Raja.
Yes, Tanusha, what were you saying?
To check with the mother. I'm really sorry I have bad internet.
Yeah, so mother is the authority for. Okay, your I think internet is breaking a little bit. So mother is the authority to know who is our father. And the second option is to do a DNA test. Like we will find millions of male people who might be her father, who might be my father, and we will do a DNA test. So, like approaching the authority and knowing the truth, that is the nectar method, and like doing DNA tests of millions of people, that is the school of hard knocks. Yeah. So we'll continue with the answers. There is a lecture actually which why accept authority in our which we gave in the during when we covered Bhagavad Gita. So I can do that also. I'll share that in today's after today's session. Anya devahur vidyaha anyadahur avidyaya Shushramadhiranam ye nastad vichachakshire. The wise have explained that one result is derived from culture of knowledge and that a different result is obtained from the culture of misscience. So now basically the next two verses will be distinguishing between the consequences of cultivating knowledge and cultivating misscience. Vidyam cha avidyayam cha. So yeah, so the cultivating misscience, what is the result? And cultivating the spiritual knowledge, what is the result? Purport given by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So these 5 verses in Bhagavad Gita, they explicitly tell you about what are the symptoms of cultivating knowledge. Amanitvam adambitvam, ahimsa shantirarjanam, acharyopasanam shacham. So like this, there are 13, there are 20, how many? There are 18 items of knowledge that signify whether we are cultivating knowledge or not. And the first item is humility and faithlessness. So humility is the first prerequisite of cultivating Krishna consciousness. As advised in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, one should culture knowledge in the following way. One should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. One should not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. है ना त्रनादपि सुनिचना तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेना कीर्तनिया सदा. So we should be humbler than the blade of grass, and we should be more tolerant than a tree, and we should give all sorts of respect to others, and we should not accept respect. We should not expect respect from others. So this is the main verse of Shikshastakam by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that then we become perfect gentlemen. So that's why Prabhupada always used to say that this Krishna consciousness process will make you perfect gentleman. Because we understand that we are a very small, tiny soul, and we are very, very minute, and Krishna can do anything with us. So understanding our temporary position and our small position, we automatically will offer respect to others, because everybody else is a part and parcel of Krishna, and we don't expect respect for ourselves. And one should not become a source of anxiety to others by actions of his body, by thoughts of his mind, or by his words. One should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. So matra sparshasthu kanteya shitoshna sukha dukkha agamapniyo nityastam titikshashu bharata. So actually this item of knowledge is actually the eligibility to get liberated. In second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that one who is able to tolerate the dualities of life, happiness and distress, heat and cold, he becomes eligible for liberation. So one who is able to tolerate the provoking situations, he becomes eligible to liberation. And higher than tolerance is service to God. When we serve with devotion, then we gain the higher taste. Then that tolerance is not so difficult. It comes automatically. One should learn to avoid duplicity in others. Yeah. One should search out a bona fide spiritual, leading gradually to the state of spiritual realization. One must submit himself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. Tadvidi pradipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnaninas tattvadarshana. So this is the most important. So in these 5 verses also, Acharya Upashanam and what is the second one? Acharya Upashanam means you are worshipping the lotus feet of Guru, and Ananya Bhakti, I think, right? So these 2 are the most important items of knowledge. Yeah. Tasmat Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. So Eva Abhigacche Guru Tasmat. So basically we have to approach the spiritual master compulsorily, mandatorily. Like it is not an option. For example, Lord Chaitanya, he was Krishna himself, but he still he picked a guru and he surrendered to him. And even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was suggested by his father to find some guru. He himself did not become guru. Bhaktivinoda Thakur never said you take initiation from him. He said you find some guru and take initiation from him. So yeah. Eva Abhigacche. Yeah. So we have to follow, we have to approach a bona fide spiritual master and render him service and surrender to him. And then he will, by his sound vibration, by his instructions, he will enlighten our consciousness. In order to approach the platform of self-realization, one must follow the regulative principles enjoined in the revealed scriptures. One must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. So following the rules and regulations is also important. As far as possible, according to your capacity, we should follow. One should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self-realization. Anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya vardhana. So whatever helps us in Krishna consciousness, we should make sankalpas, we should make vows to follow those things. And whatever is deteriorating to Krishna consciousness, we should give up. One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body. Yadrichaya labha santushto. So whatever is needed to maintain the body and soul together, we should accept, and more than that, we should not accept. That's what Narad Muni told Mrigari also, right? Mrigari asked Narad Muni, how will I survive if I give this hunting business? So Narad Muni said, no, don't worry about that. Just keep this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and you and your wife both chant this Hare Krishna mantra, and everything else will come in your life. Only condition is don't accept more than what you require. Whatever people bring to you, you just add devotion to that and bring them back, give them back, and accept only whatever is bare minimum necessary to maintain the body and spirit together. So then that will protect you. So that is the reality actually. When we chant Hare Krishna mantra, automatically whatever is bare minimum for us, Krishna will provide us. And there is no doubt in that. Right? One should not falsely identify himself with a gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to his body to be his own. So yeah, ultimately all of us are spirit souls, and like when we keep Krishna in the center, then it is very easy to connect with people. Otherwise, even within the same family, people are not able to connect with each other because there's a wall of misunderstanding, wall of ignorance, right? So it is very important to bring Krishna in the center and then connect with other people. Then it becomes very easy to understand each other's emotions, feelings, and what are our needs, what is our strengths and weaknesses. Everything we can understand if we bring Krishna in the center. So that is the easy negative method. One should always remember that as long as he has a material body, he must face the miseries of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. To find out the means by which one may regain his spiritual identity. So yeah, like because we have this body, like sometimes we get stomach pain, sometimes we'll feel a lot of heat, sometimes we'll feel some agitation in our mind because of some situation at the workplace. So all these are byproducts of this material body, right? And like we should accept all the difficulties, whatever is coming along. But in the same situation, we should try to cultivate spiritual identity. ज्ञाने प्रयासोदुपासनमन्तेवा जीवन्ति सन्मुखरितां भवदीय वार्तां स्थाने स्थितां शुदिगतां तनुवान् मनोभिर् जे प्रायसो जितजितो अपि अस्य लोकाम्. So this verse is the last verse which of Brahma's prayers. So Brahma is saying to Krishna that a person who wants who a person who is best, who cultivates devotional service or spiritual knowledge from where he is. Jnane prayas udapasana manteva. So he gives up all the endeavors of speculation and cultivating material knowledge, but he is fixed up in his varna and ashrama wherever he is. Sthane sitam chudigatam tanovan manovitas. And in that position, he hears from a pure devotee. Because when we hear from a pure devotee, then all the other things will happen. Yakkaroshi Yadashnasi will happen. Sarva Dharman Pariteja will happen. Chaturvarna Maya Srishtam will happen. So all the things we will realize that we have to do everything for Krishna, and like we will understand, because a pure devotee's realizations will become our realizations when we hear with a periodic with a routine program. So that will help us cultivate a spiritual identity. One should not be attached to more than necessities of life required for spiritual advancement. This is similar to the basic necessities. One should not be more attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures ordain. So the life of Lord Rama is an example on that. That Ram, after Sita was abducted by Ravan, Ram was roaming here and there because he was feeling so much devastated, so much feelings and emotions were totally like negative from his side, and because he was missing his wife so much. And acharyas say that those things depict that a person who is very attached to his wife is bound to suffer. So these attachments will bring us suffering. So that's why we should do our duty in our whatever varna and ashram we are, and we should not become too much attached on the bodily platform to other living entities, because Krishna is bringing us together in that situation, and Krishna might he might separate us also in near future. We are here just by Krishna's plan. So one should not be happy or distressed over desirables and undesirable, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. So yesterday we were discussing about the story of Avanti Brahmana. So this Avanti Brahmana, initially he is very happy in his family life, but he is not doing his duties nicely. So eventually his family leaves him, and then other people also starts troubling him. Somebody is urinating on him, somebody is hanging him upside down. So he is tolerating all those things. Because he has understood that all the sufferings which are there, which are like perceptibly there for us, which we perceive as sufferings, That is only because of our mind. It is not because of the other person. It is because of our own conditioned mind that we are perceiving that suffering. So we have to train our mind to tolerate those and come to a higher level where we are not very happy in a happy situation and not very distressed in a distressed situation. Sukheshu anudvignamana, dukheshu vigatas priya, vitarag bhakroda, sithadir munir uchchati. So that is a sithadir muni, who is basically Sukheshu anudvignamana. So in happy situations, he is equipoised. Dukheshu vigatas priya. And he is detached in a distressful situation also. In many purports, Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita writes that a devotee is very indifferent to the, for example, to the loss of a family relative, or we should do whatever is needed, but we should not be too much affected by those situations because it is all Krishna's plan. And like sometimes the negative emotions are there, then we should take shelter of devotees, because devotees, they will give us practical advice, they will give us positive energy, the right kind of support which we need, which our soul needs to overcome those negative emotions. So all these things we should take, but we should understand the temporary nature of this life, temporary nature of these situations. And a sadhu, he doesn't invest too much, like invest a lot of consciousness in the temporary situation. He is more concerned about his eternal situation. Na sate vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata, ubhayorapi drishtantvas, tvaninos tattva darshivi. So one should become an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and serve him with rapt attention. So this rapt attention word is also very important. We should hear with eagerness and rapt attention. In Bhagavatam, we will read first canto that why this eagerness and rapt attention is very important for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. So unalloyed devotee means Mahi Chananya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhichari. Sagunan Samati Tetan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So when we follow the devotional service, Bhakti transcend the modes of nature. Ragunya Veshya is telling Arjuna also that why on three platform modes of nature. Rise above these and try to follow my instruction by rising to the soul platform. So yeah, so all these are instructions for us only. Like it is not only for Arjuna. Arjuna is asking all those questions only for our own welfare. Yeah. One should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere, favorable for spiritual culture, and one should avoid congested places where non-devotees congregate. Yeah. So secluded place. Prahlad Maharaj says that Vanam gato yad harim ashriyata, right? Vanam means we should go to forest, like because all the other places, practically speaking, in Kalyuga are disturbed, right? So we should go to Vrindavan. Like there are no forests also left in Kalyuga. So either we should go to ISKCON temples or Vrindavan and do Hari Bhajan. So that's what a devotee wants. He wants to be in a secluded place where he can nicely practice his sadhana, hearing and chanting. One should become a scientist or philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge, recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body. So all of you are scientists of spiritual knowledge, right? Because we are dwelling into this path of devotion. So there you go deeper into the spiritual things, and then you by this by these analogies and by reading these scriptures, we try to understand what are the spiritual conceptions, what are the material conceptions, what is their difference, what is the spiritual life, what is soul, what is the characteristics of the soul. So all these things, these things make us a spiritual scientist. That's why there is a site also, right? By Chetan Charan Prabhu, spiritual scientist. He answers a lot of questions on that. So that's why asking questions is very important. Like a scientist is always, he's trying to jot down his realizations. He's asking questions to fellow scientists. So he's trying to arrive at a conclusion. He's trying to arrive at a realization. So that's why always we should have this eager desire to know about Krishna, to know what is the true goal of life, right? That's what Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami they are asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Ramkeli. They are paying the obeisances and they are asking, Ke Ami, who I am, who am I? People are saying I am a Pandita, I am a learned fellow, but I don't think I am those. Although people are praising me, glorifying me so much, but but actually, who I am? Please tell me, please enlighten me. So, like that, we should approach our guru. We should approach the senior devotees, and then we understand. Yeah. So, this paragraph, anybody wants to read? Pragya Mata, do you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. The, these 18 items combine to form a gradual process by which real knowledge can be developed. Except for these, all other methods are considered to be in the category of nescience. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great acharya, maintained that all forms of material knowledge are merely external feature of the illusory energy, and that by culturing them, one becomes no better than an ass. The same principle is found here in Sri Ishopanishad. By advancement of material knowledge, modern man is simply being converted into an ass. Some materialistic politicians and spiritual guys decry the present system of civilization as satanic, but unfortunately, they do not care about the culture of real knowledge as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, they cannot change the satanic situation.
You can read the next paragraph also.
In the modern society, even a boy thinks himself self sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men. Due to the wrong types of education being imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving the elders headaches. And Sri Ishopanishad very strongly warns that the culture of nescience is different from that of knowledge. Roji, unable to see the screen. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Remember.
Network issue, Prabhuji.
I'm able to see.
हमारा नेटवर्क इशू है प्रभु जी शायद.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. This paragraph.
Ji, Prabhuji. In the modern society, even a boy thinks himself self-sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men. Prabhuji's screen is not visible. Yes, Prabhuji. Due to the strong type of education being imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving their elders headache. Thus, Sri Ishopanishad very strongly warns that the culture of science is different from that of knowledge. The universities are, so to speak, centers of science only. Consequently, scientists are busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. University students today are not given instruction in the regulative principles of brahmacharya, celibate student life, nor do they have any faith in any scriptural injunctions. Religious principles are taught for the sake of name and fame only, and not for the sake of practical action. Thus, there is animosity not only in social and political fields, but in field of religion as well.
Hmm.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you are not audible and screen is not visible.
Hare Krishna. I don't know what is up with this internet, but I'll switch off my video for today. Yeah, thank you for reading, Mataji. So basically, this is the main difference between our modern education and Vedic education. That modern education motivates us to speculate, and Vedic education says that whatever we learn by the Shabda Praman, that is the authentic thing. And here Prabhupada is saying that these days the young generation, they don't even know how to respect other people. Because in Bhagavad Gita, like all these things are there. Dev, Dvej, Guru, Pragya, Pujam, Shaucham, Arjavam cha, right? Brahmacharya, Mahimsa cha, Shariram Tapochyate. So all the austerities of the mind, of the body, of the mind, of the speech, everything is given. So we have to cultivate those things. Then only we'll come on the spiritual platform, and that is the reality for everybody. Like it's not sectarian. Like Krishna consciousness is a totally universally accepted process. Anybody who follows the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, he will understand that he is a spirit soul. He has an eternal relationship with Krishna. But the modern education is bringing us away from like principles on which they are telling that, okay, cow is your mother, you can eat her meat, all those things, and you can speculate. All the planets are revolving around the sun is in the center. So all those things like like planets are revolving because of gravitational constant, right? So scriptures have a different praman, different evidence, and ultimately we have to accept the evidence of scriptures, because scriptures are the breathing of the Lord. So actually, real character development happens when we follow Bhagavad Gita, when we try to apply Bhagavad Gita in our life. And the modern schools are going a little bit away from those principles. So somehow we have to come back to those principles and try to understand, try to illuminate ourselves in that spiritual knowledge. And that's why these days you will see that there is so much rash driving. Even kids who are like 6 to 7 years, they want cell phones, they want girlfriend, they want car. So all the status symbols, these depict the dissatisfied mind, dissatisfied heart. And that is because like they are not given what they are really hankering for. Everybody is hankering for Krishna, because everybody is a spirit soul. Everybody is hankering for that Krishna rasa. So you distribute prasadam sometime, and so many people will come to you, okay, and will tell you that, oh, this food is so nice. So just by that you can understand that everybody is actually hankering for that Krishna consciousness. And once we get that Krishna consciousness, then we become humble, then we become obedient, we become disciplined, then we chant, then we try to follow the principles of devotional service. Automatically, everything else comes. When our mind is satisfied, then everything else is also resolved. Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushte. Yeah. So basically, like these modern universities, they are called slaughterhouses only because they are not promoting Krishna consciousness. They are not. If we say that we are doing Desh Bhakti or we are making a nuclear bomb, they will appreciate us so much. But if we say that, okay, we are making research into God, we want to research who we really are by studying Bhagavad Gita, and we want to become a Vaishnav who wants to serve Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, then they will not be so much encouraged, because they are averse to the Lord, because they are not really interested in Krishna consciousness. Their Sukriti is not so much built up. Their Krishna consciousness is not so high. So that is the difference between this modern education and the basic education. Somebody raised his hand. Yeah, I'll read next one. Any questions on this?
No, Prabhuji.
Nationalism has developed in different parts of the world due to the cultivation of nescience by the general people. No one considers that this tiny earth is just a lump of matter floating in immeasurable space along with many other lumps. In comparison to the vastness of space, these material lumps are like dust particles in the air. Because God has kindly made these lumps of matter complete in themselves, they are perfectly equipped with all necessities for floating in space. The drivers of our spaceships may be very proud of their achievements, but they do not consider the supreme driver of these greater, more gigantic spaceships called planets. Yeah, so ultimately we have to understand the supremacy of energies of the Lord by which everything is moving, by which sunlight is coming, moonshine is coming, and so many things are coming, right? So we have to understand the external energy, the internal energy, jnana, jnana shakti, kriya shakti. So this is kriya shakti actually, that how all the planets are floating in their path. This is by the uh, by the energy of the Lord. And this nationalism that we are Indian, you are a Pakistani, or you are American. So this is also nescience. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Ultimately, everybody is a spirit soul. Depending on where you are born, you are given a particular body according to your subtle propensities. But that American or Indian, these are all like upadhis. These are not permanent. These are temporary. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktirutam. So we are able to serve the Lord and satisfy Him when we come above the upadhi. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. So when we come above all the designations, then we are able to serve the Lord Rishikesha and satisfy his senses. And when his senses are satisfied, then automatically our own senses will also become satisfied. So there are so many designations we have to take, right, in this world. We have to become father, we have to become husband, we have to become employee and reportee of a manager, we have to become manager. So all these are designations. Actually, we are just a servant of Krishna. We are just a small, tiny spirit soul, and we are a servant of Krishna in every situation. The more we identify with that designation, the more basically we go away from the spiritual conception. But we should also fulfill the duties of all those designations. But internally, we should remember that we are a spirit soul. We are not this temporary position like husband or father or son. Like, okay. So that's why there are different dharma. There is Stri dharma, there is Raj dharma, there is Putra dharma, right? So dharma, all these dharmas are based on different designation. And then above all these, there is Paradharma. Paradharma is the Bhagavad Dharma, where we follow the teachings of Bhagavad. Okay. There are innumerable suns and innumerable planetary systems also. As infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, we small creatures are trying to dominate these unlimited planets. Thus, we take repeated birth and death and are generally frustrated by old age and disease. So, our disease is to dominate, is to enjoy this material creation, is to dominate this material creation. And because of this, we are taking birth and death continuously. The span of human life is scheduled for about 100 years, although it is gradually decreasing to 20 or 30 years. Thanks to the culture of nescience, befooled men have created their own nations within these planets in order to grasp sense enjoyment more effectively for these few years. Yeah, so generally we think that, okay, this is my country, this is my house, I will not associate with anybody else, I will just do sense gratification here. I'm provided sufficient amount of food, sufficient amount of facilities, so I should enjoy. But actually, that keeps us in illusion. Unless we associate with devotees, serve the movement of Srila Prabhupada, chant the holy name, and serve the Supreme Lord. So unless we take association of the instructions of the spiritual master of senior devotees, we will be bound to take more births. Birth and death will continue. This cycle of birth and death. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha anudaksha. Such foolish people draw various plans to render national demarcations perfectly, a task that is totally impossible. Yet for this purpose, each and every nation has become a source of anxiety for others. More than 50% of a nation's energy is devoted to defense measures and thus spoiled. No one cares for the cultivation of real knowledge, yet people are falsely proud of being advanced in both material and spiritual knowledge. So this India-Pakistan or India-China war, so much energy is spent. More than 50% of our GDP, national income is spent in for defense actually, and we cannot even draw it perfectly because actually China also belongs to Krishna, India also belongs to Krishna. So how much importance and energy you will spend to drawing that line? And if this much energy and resources, if you can spend on the farmers, or if you can give it to the needy people for cultivating Krishna consciousness or propagating Krishna consciousness, there will be so much peace in the society. And people say that India has so much population, that's why it is suffering. No, actually, it is not because of population. It is because of the government, and it is because of the lack of Krishna consciousness. At the time of Mahabharata, 5,000 years back, the population of Indraprastha was 100 crores in the battlefield itself. So, like, even in a small house, if everybody is Krishna conscious, 100 people can live, because it's a Prabhupada's house. The walls, the bricks are made of loving, affectionate exchanges of those devotees, and the trust, the cement is the trust which they have among each other. So because of their love for Prabhupada, they can live together so nicely. So many people can live together. So this population and all, these are all myths actually. People say because they have in Kali Yuga, they have more needs, they cannot live a austere life. Even joint families are becoming so rare, right? They are becoming a past experience. Like we cannot find joint families anymore. Recently, I was talking to a colleague in my workplace. She was saying that she and her sister, they live together, like very nearby, and on every festival they try to they try to distribute buttermilk or some food item, and they do a open house basically. And they were saying that when they used to, like, when they were raised, when they were in their childhood, there used to be big houses where they used to play. There was no dearth of space or plants, and there was no tension. But now the houses have become so small that it is very difficult to raise children also, because once the child starts running, he doesn't know where to run. There is no space to run. There is no mud. There is no grass to play, right? So basically, all these things have an effect. That is only because of the advance in Kali Yuga, and that all these things have an effect on the formation of the mind of the children, and that will take effect. And that's why this age is decreasing, this 20-30 years, right? Because we are forgetting these principles. We are forgetting the Ishavasham principle. So if we are able to follow Ishavasham principle, we can still live hundreds of years. We can still have a satisfied consciousness. So all these things are there here. Next paragraph, anybody wants to read? Anusha, you want to read? Arimanshu Prabhu?
I can read.
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Shri Ishopnisha warns us of this faulty type of education, and the Bhagavad Gita gives instructions as to the development of real knowledge. This mantra states that the instructions of Vidya must be acquired from a Dhira. A Dhira is one who is not disturbed by material illusion. No one can be undisturbed unless he is perfectly spiritually realized, at which time one neither hankers nor laments for anything. Adhira realizes that the material body and mind he has acquired by chance through material association are but foreign elements. Therefore, he simply makes the best use of a bad bargain. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. So Brahmabhuta Prasannatma na shochitina kamchati samasarveshu bhuteshu madmuktim labde para. So actually, we can situate ourselves on the spiritual platform only if we are dhira and we understand that this body and mind which we have acquired Those are just foreign elements. That is not actually us. That's what Narad Muni is saying in Bhagavatam, that he is able to clearly see soul as separate from the subtle and gross coverings. So somehow we have to come to this consciousness that we should neither hanker nor lament. For example, sometimes we think, okay, this person has done so much suffering for me, so much he has brought us so much suffering. That is the victim mentality, actually. That is the lamentation part. That in the past, so much wrong things have happened with me, because of which I am suffering so much. If this person would not have been in my life, then I would not have suffered so much. So these are all victim mentality. We have to come out of it. We have to take responsibility. People are coming in our life for our purification, right? So we have to chant Hare Krishna, and when that purification is happening, there will be some regression, some aggression, and some friction will be there. And now your mind might not like it because mind is conditioned. But by chanting Hare Krishna and taking shelter of devotees, we can overcome those lamentations, and we can come out of those grumpy or lamentation consciousness. And we can be, when we understand, when we chant Hare Krishna, when we serve Krishna, when we take shelter of devotees, then we are situated in the spiritual platform again, because all those purification has happened, right? Which is being brought by the other person. So then we will come out of that lamentation consciousness, and then we will not see the other person as our enemy, but we will just see them as instruments of Krishna, bringing our purification. So according to the level of Krishna consciousness, we should keep proper distance. We should not like come into this victim mentality and like see them as enemies. Yeah. Ravi Prabhu, you want to read next? Or Himanshu Prabhu, you can continue this paragraph also.
Okay, sure. The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entity. The living entity has actual functions in the living spiritual world, but this material world is dead. As long as the living spiritual sparks manipulate the dead lumps of matter, the dead world appears to be a living world. Actually, it is the living souls, the parts and parcels of the supreme living being who move the world. The Dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles.
So in the Hare Krishna, thank you. So actually, this is real rasa when we discuss about the spiritual world. So in the spiritual world, we are active. We have actual functions. We are taking prasadam with Krishna. We are dancing with Krishna. We are singing Bhogarti with Krishna. So when we feel that shelter, we can experience the spiritual world in our material world also. So yeah, when we serve the deities, when we sing Gaur Arti, Mangal Arti in front of the deities, we can experience those spiritual vibrations. And then actually spiritual world manifests in this material world also. Although all these things are material, these deities are also made of metal, and our throat is also made of Panch Mahabhuta, right? And there is this altar also is made of wood. There is table also made of wood. But when you vibrate this sound vibration, then this sound vibration has this potency of spiritualizing everything material. And that happens by the blessings of the acharyas. So then when we do this morning, evening under the guidance of senior devotees, then we understand that we are a spirit soul and we are meant to be actively serving Krishna. And then we realize the higher values of life. What is soul? What is super soul? How demigods come at the time of Mangalarti, right? In Brahma Muhurta, actually all the demigods are there. So we can experience those things when our consciousness elevates. Yeah. Good to know all these facts. And ultimately, we have to hear from the authorities. Once you hear from those authorities who have good realizations, then those realizations will become your realizations. So if you follow this morning, evening program, you can experience Krishna, you can experience all the auspiciousness, all the demigods. And there will be nothing wanting you. You will not want anything else. You will just want to do devotion in this life. You don't need to worry about anything else. Everything else Krishna will arrange. To follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and regulative principles come down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in the hazardous way of nascent education. So what a spiritual master can give, these material schools cannot give, right? One can become a dhira only by submissively hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Arjuna, for example, became a dhira by submissively hearing from Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead himself. Thus, the perfect disciple must be like Arjuna, and the spiritual master must be as good as the Lord himself. This is the process of learning Vidya from the dhira, the undisturbed. Yeah. Devanasmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha dehanta praptir dhiras tatra na muyat. So the definition of a real dhira is one who is not disturbed by the change of bodies. Suppose when we leave our body and we go to the next body, he is not disturbed. Devanasmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha dehanta praptir dhiras tatra na muyat. So dhiras tatra na muyati. Not bewildered by such a change. And when we hear from a bona fide spiritual master, actually, that hearing has the potency for us to come to that level, come to that spiritual level where we are not bewildered by any other external. We are fixed in our spiritual position, spiritual consciousness. So that's why it is very important to get into this, get into some association which is dedicating their life for hearing from spiritual master and realizing the absolute goal of the life, and we should get into that association and hear from a bona fide spiritual master. That's what Prabhupada said. We should create these platforms where people can hear about Krishna, and then they will be benefited, and slowly they will come to Krishna. So many people have been asking me, why are you doing Bhakti Shastri? You should do IDC first and Vaishnav Sadachar. There are many courses which are for beginners also. But my take was like, let's read Prabhupada books and see how far this Bhakti Shastri goes. Because reading Prabhupada purports brings more light and we feel more connected to Prabhupada. And the more you dedicate your life to Prabhupada, the more realizations you will have. And then these purports will speak to you. These purports are like personal love letters from Prabhupada actually. These are not just storybooks or simple like some Annette Blyton stories. These are real Krishna. Krishna is hidden in these purports. Yeah. So that's why even a new person who comes, who is just started chanting or have some little faith for Bhagavad Gita or Prabhupada, if he reads this purport, if he hears these purports, he will become purified. So it is our duty to provide them this platform, whoever is interested. An adhira, one who has not undergone the training of a dhira, cannot be an instructive leader. Modern politicians who pose themselves as dhiras are actually adhiras, and one cannot expect perfect knowledge from them. They are simply busy seeing to their own remuneration in dollars and cents. How then can they lead the mass of people to the right path of self-realization? Thus, one must hear submissively from a dhira in order to attain actual education. So there are so many qualities of a dhira. A dhira is never selfish. He is always invested in the interest of his guru. Guru sudrid sauridam. So he is always sacrificing every moment for guru. He is not dwelling on his own mental platform. He is always thinking how to serve guru in this situation. He sees every soul as being brought to him by Krishna and guru, and he tries to serve the guru through that interaction. So there are a lot of qualifications of a dhira. Like he's never concerned about his own welfare, about his own about protecting his own skin. He's paradukha dukhi. Like yesterday only Prabhupada was saying that real propagation of Krishna consciousness is understanding the pain of others, understanding the suffering of others. So that is what a dhira is. He is situated on spiritual platform and he understands the amount of suffering the other people are going through, amount of challenges they are going through on the subtle platforms. And with that compassion, he gives them prasadam. He gives them the message of Bhagavad Gita. He gives the message of bhakti. So that makes him dhira when he acts on that welfare platform. The greatest austerity of mind is to think about the welfare of others. For example, Vyasdev, he was sitting on the bank of Yamuna and he was contemplating that now the Kali Yuga is going to start. So much suffering will be there. So what should I do? What should I do? What should I do for the welfare of people? I should write Shastra. Till now, all the Shastras were in the vibration form. But now, Vyasdev started writing them down, all that vibration into books, so that people can take advantage of those books, and they can, like with the short memories also, they are able to practice to some extent. So like this, Vyasdev is totally absorbed in the welfare of others. So like this, we should pray and we should absorb ourselves and trying to do welfare for the other person. First, we should be compassionate to ourselves, and then we can expand that compassion to others also. Yeah. I remember, like, whenever I meet Shashank Prabhu, he always says that I can only pray Prabhu. So he always does good for others. He always gives the support, and he's praying, and he's keeping his own sadhana very strong. So that is the way, that is a real way actually. When a Vaishnava prays, then we are able to chant. Then we are able to perform our services, perform our devotion. So yeah, that is real bhakti, real spiritual life. When we pray for each other, we advance together. Okay, any questions? Today we have not done any discussion activity. Because, yeah. Maybe we can do like one activity where, like, can you differentiate between this modern education and Vedic education, and maybe bring one point which you think that you have learned in Krishna consciousness? I think all of us are here for some time, 2 years, 3 years. So one point which you think which has really improved your life when you have taken up Krishna consciousness, and which was not at all taught in modern education. Yeah, welcome Prabjit Prabhu. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you understand? बस प्रभु जी अभी तक अभी 2 साल हुए हमें मतलब ज्वाइन करे हुए, मतलब अभी जुड़े हुए। तो प्रभु एक चीज समझ आती है कि जो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी चीज है वो ये कि सिंसियरिटी जितनी हमारे अंदर होगी, मतलब कितना जल्दी हम कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस को अपने अंदर बैठाएं कि हाँ यही ट्रुथ है। और मतलब और भी कई लोग कई तरीकों से मतलब पूजा मतलब साधना करते हैं, लेकिन जो रियल ट्रुथ है जिसका मतलब सबको पता चलना चाहिए वो ये है कि हम कितनी सिंसियर से अपनी साधना करते हैं, और हमें ही पता है प्रभु कि हम कितना सिंसियर है और कितना नहीं। तो मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि प्रभु एक जो सिंसियरिटी वाला पॉइंट है, ये मतलब हमें सबसे ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए इस पे। और प्रभु कभी कभार ऐसा होता है कि कुछ एक्सपीरियंसेस हम जैसे कभी कभार भगवान हमारे साथ रेसिप्रोकेट करते हैं, तो उससे वो सीरियसनेस और बढ़ती है। मतलब लगता है कि हाँ हम और मतलब थोड़ा सिंसियर हो चीज़ों को लेके, कुछ चीज़ें हम धीरे करते हैं वो अच्छे से करें, डेली करें।
Yes, Prabhu. Sincerity is most important, and it's an easy word to say, but it's very difficult to come, because sincerity is not so easy actually. Sincere means you are always acting on spiritual platform. You are always acting in the interest of Guru and Krishna, moment to moment. So yeah, sincerity. In my case, this prasadam and devotees. Like when we share our heart with devotees, then our problems go away. Like initially, like that was the consciousness which I had, that I was suffering so much, so my problem should get solved. And like I was feeling very light at heart when I used to discuss with devotees. And actually, when Krishna consciousness is all about like free-heartedness and very light-heartedness, right? When you practice Krishna consciousness, when you do proper austerity, when you feel connected to Krishna, you feel very, very light-hearted, because all the other unnecessary, unwanted things are taken away. So I felt very jolly, and like I just want to stay there in that association, take that prasadam, and discuss, hear, chant, and nicely, happily stay in that association. So this loving atmosphere, this protective atmosphere is nowhere available in the modern education. Modern education is more about Monday tests. You have to do homework. You have to do unit tests. Teenage. Then who is your girlfriend? Okay, she's having girl. He's having girlfriend. I should also have. So that, those thing is there. Education is not so good, right? So many peer pressure are there. Like duality is there. But when you come with devotees, you feel the effect of internal potential. Yeah. Yes,
Thank
Mataji,
you,
go ahead.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, मॉडर्न एजुकेशन में हमें ये चीज़ नहीं सोल के बारे में नहीं बताया जाता, बल्कि ये बोला जाता है सोल जैसा कुछ नहीं है। और यहाँ पर आके हमने जब सोल के बारे में देखा तो हम ज़्यादा मतलब चीज़ों के प्रति और हमारे अंदर कंपैशन आता है कि हर कोई सोल है, चाहे वो जानवर हो, चाहे वो इंसान हो, चाहे ट्रीज़ हों। पर ये हमें वहाँ पे स्कूल्स में नहीं बताया जाता, इसलिए उनके अंदर कोई दया नहीं है क्योंकि वो समझ नहीं पाते।
Thank you. Thank you. Is my voice audible? Like because Pragya Mataji was breaking for me.
मुझे बीच बीच में थोड़ा सा
यस
ब्रेक हो
प्रभु
रहा है
जी।
वॉइस।
So मेरा भी break हो रहा है.
यस यस
प्रभु जी अभी हुआ
ठीक है,
था,
फिर मैं
थोड़ा सा
वीडियो
हुआ
ऑफ
था।
ओके ओके, ठीक है। हाँ, तो यही है बेसिकली, मतलब एक सर्वे हुआ था एजुकेशन पे, तो उसमें एनसीईआरटी वालों के कुछ डायरेक्टर्स थे, तो किसी ने प्रेजेंट किया था, प्रेजेंटेशन में बोला कि टुडेज मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सिस्टम इज इंफॉर्मेशन 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 and no transformation. So we can describe this education system in 4 words, 5 words: information, 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 and no transformation. So real education system is when your character is transformed, when you develop character, and that happens only when you have substance, when you have spiritual potency, when you have spiritual energy. And as you are saying, like they don't teach you about the reality that you are a spirit soul, you should have compassion, you should cultivate kindness, affection for others. So all those things are not taught. They motivate us to speculate for knowledge. And actually, unless we hear from authorities, we cannot we cannot learn the true knowledge. So all these things are there actually. And so that's why all the education is in the lower modes, like passion and ignorance, because they keep us on the bodily platform. So we have to understand this very clearly. Then only we will be able to value the spiritual education. And that's why Prabhupada always used to blaspheme these scientists, because these scientists are always endeavoring in the wrong direction. They are making nuclear bomb. They are trying to win over death. They are trying to invent time machines. So they are investing so much energy and resources in these unnecessary things. And instead, if they would have invested this energy in Krishna consciousness, then their energies would have expanded, and they would have expanded energy, right? When you serve Krishna, when you distribute Krishna, then your energy increases, it doesn't decrease. But when you make effort for making a space shuttle which you have to send in the sky, which will cost you $1 trillion, it will take 10 years to accumulate that money, then it is so much energy taking, right? And it saps up your vital energy, and your energy, your vital energy is totally sapped up by that. But if you feed prasadam to somebody, or if you feed prasadam to cows, you serve the cows, you do bhajan with kids, you do some schooling with kids, and try to give them Krishna, then your energy also increases, because Krishna reciprocates like that. Yasmin tushte jagat tushta. Like if you do the right thing, then the energy will increase, and if you do the wrong thing, then energy will decrease. So कहते हैं ना कि वो सुख बांटने से बढ़ते हैं और दुख बांटने से घटते हैं. So this मतलब phenomenon of distributing is very important actually. Okay. Anybody else, or we'll just continue with the next verse? I think other folks are just catching up on the process of devotional service, so it will take some time for realizations. Vidyam cha yas tadvedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityam tirtva vidyamritamasnute. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So both the things are required. The futility of the material world, the suffering nature of the material world, we should study that also. That's why we are told not to give up our situation and not to take premature sannyas. Because when we are in our family life, or when we are in our job life, we will be made to suffer, and then we will understand the reality that there is so much suffering here. And then when afterwards, after 20 years, when we take sannyas, or when we are fully engaged in Krishna's service, then we understand, okay, this material world is so much full of suffering. We will never want to come back. Otherwise, you join temple, and you have some challenges in relationships. You don't like other devotees, and then you think, okay, my material life was better. I should have gone back. Why am I here among these saffron devotees committing offenses, right? So that's why, like, cultivating the science of nescience also is important. Learning the process of nescience is also important, because you will be sufficiently purified for entering into the spiritual world. So both the things are important. Okay. So purport, anybody wants to read? I think this is long purport. Yes, bro. Go ahead.
The Prabhupada. Since the creation of the material world, everyone has been trying to attain a permanent life, but the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity from old age, disease, or death, nor has the advancement of material knowledge solve these problems. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, but it cannot discover anything that can protect man from the cruel hands of old age, disease, and death. Hare Krishna.
You can read next paragraph. So this is just what I summarized. Ultimately, material laws of nature are acting, and we are under their control. And these three modes of nature are acting. We have to die. So scientists, although they are trying to conquer these, but they are not able to do anything.
From the Puranas, we learn of the activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who was very much advanced materially, wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions. Whose screen is not visible. Hare Krishna Prabhu's screen is not visible.
Yeah. I think there is some internet issue. I don't.
Hmm.
Prabjit, can you project? Is it possible? Because today is very flaky, I think.
Yes, Prabhu.
Second.
Now it's visible. Can I project on?
Yeah. Yeah, you can project that.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. From the Puranas, we learn of the activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who was very much advanced, materially wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and the strength of his nescience. He underwent a type of meditation so served that the inhabitants of all the planetary systems become distributed by his mystic power. He forced the creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him. He then asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amara, by which one does not die. Brahma said that he could not afford the benediction because even he, the material creator who rules all planets, is not Amara. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Brahma lives a long time, but that does not mean he is immortal. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, your voice is breaking.
Now also?
Yes, Prabhu, little bit.
Can somebody read the third paragraph? Prabjit Prabhu, you can continue reading that third paragraph.
Yes, true, I can continue. Hiranaya means gold and Kashipu means soft bread. This cunning gentleman Hiranyakashipu was interested in these two things, money and women, and he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He asked from Brahma many benedictions in hopes of indirectly fulfilling his desire to become immortal. Since Brahma told him that he could not grant the gift of immortality, Hiranyakashipu requested that he not killed by any man, animal, god, or any other living being within the 84 lakh species. He also asked that he not die on land, in the air or water, or by any weapon. In this way, Hiranyakashipu foolishly thought these guarantees would save him from death. Ultimately, however, all the Brahma granted him all these benedictions. He was killed by the personality of Godhead in the form of Narasimha, the law, half law and half man incarnation, and no weapon was used to kill him, for he was killed by the Lord's blades, nor he was killed on the land, in the air, or in the water, for he was killed on the lap of that wonderful living being, Narasimha, who was beyond his conception. Why read more or I can stop here?
Yes, bro. Continue reading.
The whole point here is that even Hiranyakashipu, the most powerful of materialists, could not become deathless by his very strength. What then What then can be accomplished by the tiny Hiranyakashipus of today, whose plans are thwarted, thwarted from moment to moment? Sri Ishopanishad instruct us to instruct us not to make one-sided attempts to win the struggle for existence. Everyone is struggling hard for existence, but the laws of material nature are so hard and fast that they do not allow anyone to surpass them. In order to attain a permanent life, one must be prepared to go back to Godhead. The process by which one goes back to Godhead is a different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from revealed Vedic scriptures such as the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. To become happy in this life and attain a permanent blissful life after leaving the material body, one must study this sacred literature and obtain transcendental knowledge. The conditioned living being has forgotten his eternal relationship with God and has mistakenly accepted the temporary place of his birth as all in all. The Lord has kindly delivered the above mentioned scriptures in India and other spiritual countries to remind the forgetful human being that his home is not here in this material world. A living being is a spiritual entity, and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual home. From his kingdom, the personality of God has
Hmm.
sends his bona fide servants to propagate his
You
message
can.
by way. What, Prabhu?
Yeah, you can continue reading. Yeah. So in this section of the book, like the process of going back to Godhead is described that unless we read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and we understand material life place, which is not all in all, we will not be able to understand that we have an eternal relationship with Krishna. So the Lord has kindly delivered the above mentioned scriptures in India and other scriptures in other countries to remind the forgetful human being. So I think last time Simran Mataji was asking ki, why Lord has created this material world. So Lord has created the material world because we rebelled against Him, and in order to bring us back to Him, He has created this material world, and He has given the scriptures of Vedas and Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad. So by following these scriptures, we can go back to God. Yes. So continue, please.
From his kingdom, the personality of God had sent his bona fide servants to propagate this message by which one can return to Godhead, and sometimes the Lord comes himself to do this work. Since all living beings are his beloved sons, his part and parcel, God is more sorry than we ourselves see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter. Intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya, or transcendental knowledge. Human life is the best opportunity for the culture of spiritual knowledge, and a human being who does not take advantage of this opportunity is called a Naradama, the lowest of human beings.
हाँ, so इसमें एक
Prabhu, your voice is not audible.
reminder the misery of this material world serve to should I speak? Death is compared to okay. Death is compared to the taking on of out. Foolish beings who are grossly absorbed in this of the illusory energy, they undergo the same miseries repeatedly and do not any lessons from the laws of nature. So generally it is said that this life is just like a window in the entire eternal spiritual realm. So in the spiritual world there is no concept of time, right? Time stops. So that's why when we are fixed on spiritual platform, we can transport ourselves to any event in our life when we focus on that particular sanskar, and then we have access to all the sanskar still for the human being. Sense enjoyment in the disease condition must be restricted as far as possible. Unrestricted sense enjoyment in this bodily condition is the path of ignorance and death. Without spiritual senses, being in his original spiritual form has all the senses which are now material body and the mind. Senses also, just like we can, when our material senses become purified, we can understand our spiritual senses also. They become awakened, they become more active. The activities of the material inverted reflections of the activities of the original spiritual senses. So you can hear more clearly, you can smell the spiritual smells very nice. In his diseased condition, the material activities under the material covering. Real sense enjoyment is possible only when the disease of materialism is removed. So that's why Prabhupada says that the real bhakti begins with air indriya yogina karvaka. In our pure spiritual form, free from all material contamination, real enjoyment of the senses is possible. Patient must regain his health before he can truly enjoy sense pleasure again. Thus, the aim of human life should not be to enjoy perverted sense enjoyment, but to cure the material disease. Aggravation of material disease is no sign of knowledge, but a sign of avidya. Ignorance. For good health, a person should not increase his fever from 105 degrees to 107 degrees, but should reduce his temperature to the normal 98.6. So already if we are conditioned, we should not endeavor in such a way that it increases our fever more. That's what Prabhupada says in the Janmashwara Shruta purport also, right? These four things, they will increase our material fever. So we should try to do those things which will decrease our fever by, for example, associating with devotees, hearing Bhagavad Gita, scriptures, Ishopanishad, Bhagavatam. That should be the aim of human life. The modern trend of material civilization is to increase the temperature of the feverish material condition, which has reached the point of 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. So that's why in Kali Yuga there are so many obstacles to perform devotion. There are our own senses. There is Mayavada also. There is distractions of other people, of other opportunities, of our own sanskaras also. There are our own propensities which are not favorable for Krishna consciousness. So we have to be very careful actually, so that we don't increase the temperature but we decrease it. Meanwhile, the foolish politicians are crying that at any moment the world may go to hell. That is the result of the advancement of material knowledge and the neglect of the most important part of life, the culture of spiritual knowledge. Hmm. So the culture of spiritual knowledge has to be prioritized. Tapsa brahmacharyena shamena cha damena cha tyagena satya shauchabhyam yamena niyamena va. Sri Ishopanishad herein warns that we must not follow this dangerous path leading to death. On the contrary, we must develop the culture of spiritual knowledge so that we may become completely free from the cruel hands of death. This does not mean that all activities for the maintenance of the body should be stopped. There is no question of stopping activities, just as there is no question of wiping out one's temperature altogether when trying to recover from a disease. To make the best use of a bad bargain is the appropriate expression. So if the temperature is high, we have to tolerate that opportunity. We should connect with Christians might be difficult, but we should always keep cultivating our inner devotion. And as soon as the situation changes, opportunity to increase our devotion. So the culture of spiritual knowledge necessitates the help of the body and mind. Therefore, maintenance of the body and mind is required if we are to reach our goal. The normal temperature should be maintained at 98.6 degrees. India have attempted to do this by a balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. They never allow the misuse of human intelligence for disease sense gratification. So this is amazing paragraph actually. Matlab, Prabhupada again and again is and how we can stay on the temperature of 98. So actually this morning and evening benchmark that will keep us on 96. Even if little bit temperature senior devotees, then stay in your position. And then you will understand, okay, the more purification has happened. These are just like the carvings on the embroidery, right? So you will see there are so many small flowers, small lines, but eventually there is a bigger picture. When you see the entire cloth, there is a very big scene of picture which has those so many small flowers, small lines. So there is a bigger picture in which Krishna is preparing us. for going back to Godhead. So these small challenges, they come, and Krishna is preparing us through these challenges. Human activities diseased by a tendency towards sense gratification have been regulated in the Vedas under the principles of salvation. This system employs religion, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. But at the present moment, people have no interest in religion or salvation. Dharma, artha, kam, moksha, basically. They have only one aim in life, sense gratification, and in order to achieve this end, they make plans for economic development. Misguided men think that religion should be maintained because it contributes to economic development, which is required for sense gratification. Thus, in order to guarantee further sense gratification after death in heaven, there is some system of religious observance. But this is not the purpose of religion. The path of religion is actually meant for self realization. And economic development is required just to maintain the body in a sound, healthy condition. A man should lead a healthy life with a sound mind just to realize Vidya, true knowledge, which is the aim of human life. This life is not meant for working like an ass or for culturing avidya for sense gratification. So, the purpose of religiosity is not economic development, it is ultimately salvation. Savai punsam paro dharmo yeto bhakti radhokshje ahituki apratiata yayatma suprasidati. So, the soul should find satisfaction and more attraction towards the topics of hearing and chanting. The path of Vidya is in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire into the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized step by step as Brahman, Paramatma, and finally Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. The absolute truth is realized man who has attained knowledge and detachment by following the 18 principles of the Bhagavad Gita described in the purport to Mantra 10. So, in the last verse, we read these 18 principles, right? The central purpose of these 18 principles is the attainment of transcendental devotional service to the personality of God. Therefore, all classes of men are encouraged to learn the art of devotional service to the Lord. So, this inquiry into the absolute truth is important. So in Nectar of Instruction, we read, right? Unless we inquire into the absolute truth, we will be made to unless we endeavor for making higher inquiries, we will be made to endeavor for material things. So Atyara will continue if we don't inquire into the absolute truth, if we don't read these purports carefully and then answer the questions which I have given nicely. Yeah. The guaranteed path to the aim of Vidya is described in Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which we have presented in English as the Nectar of Devotion. The culture of Vidya is summarized in Srimad Bhagavatam in the following words. Tasma sa Bhagavan Satvatam Pati Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Dheya Pujyascha Nityata. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of devotees. Unless religion, economic development, and sense gratification aim towards the attainment of devotional service to the Lord, they are all simply different forms of nisscience, as Sri Upanishad indicates in the following mantras. So ultimately, everything economic development, sense gratification, and salvation should be according to the religious principle. We should earn our money also according to religiosity. We should do our sense gratification also under the paradigm of Vedic religiosity principles. Like we are offering prasada, bhoga to the Lord and then enjoying. So everything, if it is done under the paradigm of religious principles, then we are safe. We are somewhat safe and we will be progressive towards our goal, towards going back to Godhead. Okay. But if we don't follow this principle, then ultimately everything forms of Nisscience. Talk about how the Nisscience is there, how we should cultivate the Nisscience so that we understand that where we should this technique, that we should cultivate spiritual knowledge, and we should be very careful about not going towards the niscience, the knowledge of niscience. Have knowledge, but we should not go towards it. Yeah. So this is the essence, that we have to cultivate this single pointed attention. And these, I think, weekly sessions which we are conducting on, although this is a Bhakti Shastri session, but we discuss, want to discuss any challenge or any in Krishna, and yeah, come back to the spiritual platform. Okay. Any questions or any discussions anybody wants to have? I think we are done with the 11th verse. In next two sessions, I think we'll be able to complete each Upanishad. Then we'll have CBA for. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
So now the internet is okay, no? Okay.
Yes.
The voice.
Your voice is breaking.
It is
Prabhu's voice is breaking too much.
Acha, okay. Because I kept on speaking. Okay, now we are ending the class because we have read the 11th verse purport. So if any topic of discussion is there, let me know. Otherwise, can. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. And let's meet next Sunday. So, and prepare for, I will send the questions also for till the 10th verse. So you can answer those questions and prepare for your CBA.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna, Prabhu.
you.
Hare Krishna.